Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen. Vin Diesel is being sued for alleged actual battery of assistant in 2010. Can't say certain bits and pieces because, of course, YouTube. The YouTube overlords. This dropped yesterday, but subsequently since then there has actually been an update from his attorney. So it's interesting. I think we'll take a look at this. And it's good to have waited ever so slightly, although that wasn't my intention. I was just busy. Hit subscribe if you're new here, guys. Turn those bell notifications on. So, what's the claim? Or what's the situation? It's a former assistant that worked with Vin Diesel. And they've put a lawsuit in against the actor on Thursday. So yesterday. Alleging that in 2010, he pinned her against the wall in a hotel suite and played with himself in front of her. Now, the individual is Asta Jonassen. Alleges that she was working for the actor in Atlanta, where he was filming Fast 5, when he brought her to his suite at the St. Regis Hotel and forced her onto his bed. So according to the suit, she asked him to stop and move towards the door. So presumably she was on the bed, asked him to stop. Okay. Or, anyway. But he came over to her and began to grope her, kiss her. He tried to pull down her underwear. She screamed, ran towards the bathroom. So Jonassen alleges that Vin Diesel pressed against the wall and forced her to touch his Jimmy Johnson, and then began to play with himself. So Ms. Jonassen was unable to escape and closed her eyes, scared of angering Vin Diesel by rejecting him further and trying to disassociate, wishing the assault would end, the suit alleges. Hours later, according to the lawsuit, Samantha Vincent, Diesel's sister, and the president of his company, called Jonassen and fired her. It was clear to her that she was being fired because she was no longer useful. Vin Diesel had used her to fulfill his actual desires, and she had resisted his actual assaults. Miss Jonassen felt like she was a piece of trash to be discarded. Ms. Jonassen felt helpless. Her self-esteem was demolished, and she questioned her own skills and whether a successful career would require her to trade her body for advancement. So Brian Friedman, Vin Diesel's attorney, has issued a statement Thursday afternoon denying the allegation. Let me be very clear. Vin Diesel categorically denies this claim in its entirety. This is the first he has ever heard about this more than 13-year-old claim made by a purportedly 9-day employee. There is clear evidence which completely refutes these outlandish allegations. So Jonassen has filed the actual battery lawsuit under California's Actual Abuse and Cover-Up Accountability Act, which is a 2022 law that created a 1-year window. This is the same thing, isn't it? This is a 1-year window to file certain suits that would otherwise require, they'd otherwise be outside the statute of limitation. So this is the same type of law which has allowed Axl Rose to have a lawsuit brought against him. Also Jamie Foxx as well. So Jamie Foxx has recently had a lawsuit brought against him. So this is the same type of deal. For the suit to qualify, the defendant must have engaged in an attempt to cover up at least one previous assault allegation. So that's interesting. I did not know Vin Diesel had a different incident. So the suit alleges that a few days before the Diesel incident, Jonassen was propositioned by another supervisor at his company, One Race. According to the complaint, the supervisor summoned her to his hotel room at the St. Regis, took off his shirt, got into bed, and said, "Come here." Appalled, Ms. Jonassen immediately exited the room in the hotel, the suit states. So in addition to the actual battery allegation, the suit also states claims of gender discrimination, wrongful termination, retaliation, and negligent supervision. Vanity Fair first reported the lawsuit. Interesting. Actually, don't have. There's no claim here. Right. Well, anyway, let's take a look at this. This is fascinating stuff. Did not realise that at least the California Actual Abuse Cover-up Accountability Act. Didn't realise that that meant that the defendant had to have engaged in an attempt to cover up a previous one. So that like does kind of go against Vin Diesel here, quite frankly. Not going to lie. I wasn't aware of that previous to going into this. So that's interesting. Overall, I mean, what can we glean from this? I'll say what I said with respect to the Jonathan Majors situation. If this goes to court, it'll be interesting to see, and we'll have to wait and see what comes out. A few factors, just upon initial sort of review, I guess. The attorney involved in defending Vin Diesel, at the very least, says that there's clear evidence. Now, we've had this before from a lot of individuals. People just, I mean, they're literally paid to lie, or paid to defend their client, and sometimes paid to lie. Stating clear evidence doesn't necessarily mean that there actually is clear evidence. So that will be interesting to see what that potential evidence is. You know, very clear, irrefutable evidence typically is hard to come by, it seems, because we've got this claim quite a few times from people. I've got clear evidence. This isn't going to happen. Apparently, no police were involved. Again, I think that's always... Whenever there's no police involved, I'm always a bit on edge by that. I'm sure you guys are as well. When there's no, when there's no police involved, I'm always a little bit like, why? Why was there no police involved? Why did you wait so long? All of these are very valid questions without demeaning or belittling the intention of the individual filing the suit. Now, as I've said all the time, it's pretty important to question everyone's intentions involved in this. Vin Diesel, of course, has a vested interest in denying the allegations. They're pretty serious allegations, quite frankly. But, you know, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. They've already refuted it. So, we'll see this clear evidence, I guess. What do you guys think, though? It's an interesting turn of events. You'd think that one of the producers... was it a producer or an executive? A supervisor at his company. You'd think that maybe the company's just full of lecherous people, maybe. But you'd think that supervisor would have spoken to Vin Diesel about it potentially, or I don't know. This all happened in the space of 9 days. So she was propositioned by one person, then another. I mean, it's interesting. It's got a lot of depravity and degenerate behaviour going on in Hollywood, so I wouldn't put it past them. But there you go. Well, we'll wait and see, I guess. Was say 2024, the year of looking at lawsuits, it seems. So drop your thoughts down below. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye bye now.